Je parle de toi avec toi. Today my guest is Donna Reid. She is my personal singing teacher. She's from New York and I met her 10 years ago. I knew at the very moment I saw her that she would change my life forever. She's so generous. She gave me everything. She taught me everything. And I can say today that I am the teacher and the woman I am because of her. Good evening, because it's nighttime here in France. You are my dear friend, Donna. I met you around like 10 years ago.
Something like that, yeah.
You are a vocal teacher. Can you say that?
Yes.
Okay.
I say singing teacher.
Okay. And I just want you to know that you changed my life.
Oh.
No, it's true. You are one of the most inspiring women I've ever met.
Oh.
What I admire is that I know that you've been through hard time, but you are still on your feet. And you just struggle. I know that you lost people you loved, you were ill, you fought. And I remember you were ill and you took your medicines, you were teaching. I remember I had you on the phone and then you said to me, well, I'm going to the hospital on Monday or Tuesday and I think that I will teach on Thursday. And I said, what? Oh my God. Anyway, so the goal for me of this little interview is that I just want to share the people I love, all the talent they have. We don't deal with the celebrity like you can, like people think what celebrity is. And I want all my friends to know who you are because I am so lucky, first of all, to have you in my life. So would you like to introduce you to my French friends?
Okay, I'll say bonjour.
Oh,
And
thank you.
my French is not great. So I'll have to do the English and Tinah will translate however she's going to translate. Um, yes, I met Tinah around 10 years ago. My late husband, his name was Cornelius Reid. He wrote 5 books about singing. I met him, I studied with him, I learned everything I know about singing through him. And once I started studying with him, I became very, very interested in teaching and said, this is my journey, this is my purpose for being here on this earth. He fixed my voice. He took my voice, which was broken, and he fixed it. And I said, now it is my job to fix other people's voices. So that's what I do. That's what I love to do. It, as I said earlier, it gives me life. That is my purpose. And along the way, I get to meet amazing people like Tinah, who you speak of courage, one of the most courageous women I know.
Thank you.
Talented, good heart, beautiful soul, on, because all of that is true. But I think that's why we made the connection, because, two people on a journey on this earth who just want to be the best people that they can be, they meet and they get energy from each other that
Yes.
way. Because you talk about how you get that from me, I get that from you every time I'm with you. So that's wonderful. That's the kind of connections that we human beings should be making on earth.
Absolutely. And I was just like thinking about you because we are dealing with a very epidemic situation. Now in France, we are locked down again until December. And I was just really thinking about the question of the arts, because I think that in New York, there's no show until
Nope.
November
Right
21st.
now they're saying maybe fall of next year, but who knows?
So what do you think about the artistic situation? How can people deal with no arts?
It's very difficult because, as you well know, the arts and singing and dancing and All of that is just so important for a person's psyche, for a person's soul. And the best we can do right now is whatever we can do, unfortunately, virtually. So, that's the only way that we can get the arts across. Back in was it June? It was in the summer sometime. One of my students who's been on Broadway several times, she did a show online. It was called A Killer Party, and it was a musical. Everybody shot their sequence separately, and they had an editor put it all together, and they made a show, and they had the dialogue, and they had the music, and all of that, and they did what they could do. I have a lot of my students who they're not professionals, but they sing in choruses and they love singing in choruses. Many of them are singing in virtual choruses. So they get the music sent to them through the email or whatever, and then they record their part. And then again, somebody edits it and puts it all together. Now, I do have some, maybe 3 or 4 people who sing professionally in a church. They're singing live in a church right now.
Okay.
So they're able to sing at the church and be with the choir, everybody, of course, with the masks and the social distancing. So there are things going on. It's not the same, it's not the same wonderful group experience that you get sitting in a theater or sitting in an auditorium and hearing things in a group and having that group dynamic. Obviously it can't be that same thing right now, but you know what, people are very resilient. They're making things work.
This is what is surprising me the most. It's the capacity and the ability of the artists to, like, they just like still stand up, and they don't, you cannot kill artists. They
No,
need
correct.
to express themselves, and they will do it no matter what.
Absolutely,
And it
absolutely.
and it comforts my heart, because that means that we are still alive.
Yes, absolutely. And what I am thrilled about for myself personally is people still want to study. They still
Yeah.
want to study singing. So they're still studying with me. And despite the fact that maybe they're not going to be performing soon, or maybe they're not going to be performing at all, or maybe whatever, but for their souls, they want to sing. So they're taking lessons and they're singing, and that's wonderful because it feeds my soul that I'm able to teach, even though, again, like we're doing, this is how I teach. It's online. Nobody's coming into my place, my apartment to take any lessons. It's all online, but we're able to make a connection. We're able to make it work.
And so, what is the purpose in the United States? When do you think that things are gonna get better?
I have no idea. At least waiting until there's a vaccine, and see what happens with that. Wait for the numbers to go down. Wait until, we just see that it's not so contagious and it's not, going from person to person. We just have to wait. And meanwhile, I'm just being extra cautious, and I'm just saying, you know what? I'll just wait until it's a safe time. When? I don't know when that'll be.
So there's a lot of wisdom of accepting the situation.
Well, isn't that what being a human being is all about? Sometimes we have to have the wisdom to just accept this is the way it is, because what good does it do our physical bodies or even our soul if we complain about it, or if we rage about it, or if we, and you know what? My having said that, sometimes we need to do that. Sometimes we need to rage. Sometimes we need to scream. Sometimes we need to just say, ah. But in the long run, that helps us work through the acceptance, because we have to accept in the long run and say, you know what? Okay, I screamed, I raged. Okay, what's my next step? Now, where do I go?
And what does the virus change in your life? Did it change something for you?
Actually, I'll tell you what, being much more isolated and being more alone than I have been before, it made me almost go on an internal, more spiritual search, because it made me think, okay, what is deep down? What is the core? What is going on with the core? What is important? What is really important?
Yes.
And how do I reach that? So, yeah, it made me really become introspective and think about things in those terms a lot more.
Yeah, because you are locked inside, so you have to look inside.
That's a very good way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah. And the fact is that my admiration goes to, as you said, to the all the artists around me. They just like still, they still create, they
Yeah,
still imagine, they still, you know, think about the future. They still dream.
absolutely. Absolutely. I just gave a lesson to my last student of the day just before this meeting, and he's working on a new album. He's a wonderful, wonderful gospel jazz singer, and he's working on his new album. He's writing music and he's recording and he's doing the backgrounds and he's doing the whole thing. So he's very, very active artistically.
So did it change something for you, or you have the same amount of pupils or students?
Actually, I have pretty much the same amount of pupils. So I I know exactly. It's like, thank you, God. So I'm happy for that. Very happy for that. I
Yeah,
tell you, the one thing that's very different is the majority of my pupils live outside of New York now. The overwhelming majority.
of course. So you don't go out, not
I
often?
go out, I go to the store to get food and things like that. I'm not going to be totally, I have to go out and take a walk and, be in the air and all of that. But I really don't socialize. I don't, I sometimes when it was nicer out and now it's colder, I would meet friends in the park and, we would be there and just have maybe a coffee together or something. But now that it's colder, nah, I just pretty much stay here.
Okay, so you don't have any information about like when life is going to be as normal it could be? You don't know nothing about
Well, not really. Honestly, I don't watch the news because it's for my
anxiety.
psychological health. I don't, because if anything's really important, I will hear about it from somebody because obviously, even though I'm isolated and at home, I talk to people. I speak on the phone, there's FaceTime, I do all of that stuff, of course. And if something's really important, I'll hear about it. But other than that, I don't follow the news, so I have no idea. And everything's a projection anyway. I mean, who really knows? We can make a guess, but can we say for sure, oh yeah, I think in 6 months, whatever, whatever. We kind of can't. So
Just keep on going,
yeah, just go with the flow, as they say.
go with the flow. And do you think that this epidemic is going to change the world?
Hopefully it will make the world better. Hopefully it will, show a commonality among all of us, because it doesn't matter. The virus doesn't care what color you are, what country you come from, if you're a male, if you're a female. The virus does not care. So, it kind of says, we're kind of all the same, no? So hopefully people will see that, and hopefully it'll bring people together. It's not really news. Well, it is, yes and no. There's this email that I get every day. It's called the Good News Network. And what it does is it always gives you 3 or 4 stories of something positive that has happened somewhere in the world. And the acts of kindness that have come about because of the virus have really been out there and a lot. Again, one of the reasons I don't watch the news, you don't hear that on the news. You don't hear that this neighbor was kind to that neighbor. You don't hear that this person literally was in a store and paid for the groceries for somebody else that they didn't even know. You don't hear those stories. And this little a good news network sends that out. And you read these stories and you say, you know what? There are really kind, good people out there. And, when there's a crisis that brings not just the worst in some cases, but it
Absolutely.
the kindness of people.
And it gives you hope in humanity.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then it makes the vibration going higher and higher, and then
Exactly, which
the
is,
flow is, yeah.
I believe, our goal as an individual human being is to make our vibrations higher, to make the vibrations on the earth higher. So to be the best people we can to raise all of that. So, that there is joy and happiness and hope and all of that.
Absolutely. And that's why it's quite, sometimes it's difficult, because obviously how much singing is something which brings you joy and happiness, and then we miss it a little bit,
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
So do you have artistic project or something after the lockdown, or are you gonna sing, or?
Well, yeah, hopefully I still have it planned in June of next year. I have a concert planned in Frankfurt and in England, in
Oh,
London. So with my dear friend Makakata Bessel, who's German, and my friend Kevin Chavez, who is an oboe player, and he's American, and the three of us have been doing concerts together. And so we have something planned, which we were supposed to do this year in June, but that didn't happen. We're still planning it for next June. We'll see how it happens. But Kevin and I are actually working on a project together for an English horn and voice. It's a beautiful song. So we're seeing how we can do that and put that together virtually. So yeah,
oh,
we're working on little things here and there.
so you might come to Europe in June.
Yes, hopefully.
Are you gonna stay in Paris a little bit?
I don't know. It depends on the schedule and how much I can get away and see how that works.
Hmm. So don't forget to tell us.
Oh, I will certainly tell you.
So, I was so pleased to talk to you a little bit. I just want to tell you how much I love you, and how much I care for you, and how much you are someone very important for me, because you changed my life.
Thank you
You know
so
what you
much.
did to me? You know how much it could be hard sometimes to have self-confidence,
Yes, of course.
and you gave it to me.
Well, you deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I thank you right back. Thank you. You are amazing, and I love you too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.